Successful male AB Hernandez once again dominated the female competition at a California high school track meet yesterday, taking the top spot in 3 events.
We have to go back to the 80s and the great Wendy Brown to match up what AB Hernandez did by winning all 3 again.
5'9" high school transgender track star AB Hernandez continued to totally destroy her female competitors this weekend at the CIF Masters event. Video highlights show AB completely somersaulting over the crossbar on her way to sweeping all 3 jumping events in a competition that continues to be upended by protests inside and outside of the arena.
Girls competing, they are not okay with this. They know it's unfair and they do not want to compete against a boy. And the truth was, he was not born in the wrong body.
And despite all the protests and hecklers who attend her event, AB Hernandez has built an impressive 20 wins over the last 2 years over her female competitors. And now, after winning at the CIF Masters, she now qualifies to compete next week at the CIF Championships.
All right, a transgender athlete just won 2 state championships in California girls track and field. All right, so let's get to it, right? High jump, triple jump. The girls who trained for 4 years for those titles had to share the podium with her. Outside that stadium, protests, counter protests, police on the scene. It was a whole situation over there. Now, I just got done telling y'all in the last video that I support transgender troops serving this country. So how do I feel about this? My answer might surprise you. Let's talk about it, all right? What's good, everybody? I'm coming to you today. We got a few videos. We talked about a North Carolina cop that punched a lady. We talked about a lady that faked brain cancer and ran from the FBI. Then we talk about Pete himself with 2 different types of troops, right? All these are on the screen right now. You can go check them out later on after we talk about this, right? Yeah, let's get right into it. Topic, right? We're going to talk about military service and competitive sports, right? It's 2 totally complete different conversations. And I think treating them the same way is where a lot of people go wrong on this topic, right? So let me give you my honest take. And like I said, it might surprise some of you, right? AB Hernandez, she's a senior at Jurupa Valley High School in California. It's in Riverside County, about an hour east of LA, right? AB is a transgender born male, identifies as a female. This weekend, AB competed in the girls division at the CIF State Track and Field Championships in Clovis, California. That's the biggest high school athletic stage in the state, right? And AB won, not just completed, won, right? High jump, state title. Triple jump, state title. Long jump, 3rd place. 3 medals at the state championship level in girls track and field. Now, California CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation, the body that governs high school sports in that state, has a policy that allows transgender athletes to compete based on their gender identity. So AB Hernandez competed completely legal. That's like a tongue twister, man. But yeah, she by the rules as they currently exist in California, she was legal in what she did. But here's where it get complicated, right? It was also a new provision this year that any cisgender girl who finishes immediately behind a transgender athlete gets to share the same podium position. So if AB finishes first, the girl actually finished second, also gets recognized as a co-first place finisher. That is crazy. And that's their attempt at a compromise. And I'm going to tell you right now that compromise pleases absolutely nobody. The transgender athlete is still competing and winning. And she feels, and the cisgender girls feel like their records and achievements don't reflect reality. And everybody goes home frustrated and confused. So, but outside the stadium, it was a scene. Protesters were out there on both sides showing up, dueling signs, right? They're shouting. Police had to be there the whole time to manage the crowd. A press conference afterward, fell apart in chaos. This has become one of the most visible flashpoints in the whole transgender sports debate nationally. You hear Trump talking about it all the time. Do you want girls competing in the boys' sports? I mean, you want boys, whatever. And it's happening right now, guys. But here's where I need you to follow me carefully because this is important. I don't want to be misunderstood, right? In a few of the videos, I talked about transgender troops in the military. I said people who are already serving, who have proven they can do the job, right? Who've passed every test. You don't kick them out based on identity. I stand by that completely. But here's where sports is a fundamentally different conversation, and why I think people on both sides are talking past each other constantly on this, right? Military service is about employment, it's about rights, it's about whether you can perform a job. And the evidence shows that transgender troops have been performing those jobs. Competitive sports, especially at the elite level, is something different, right? It's about measuring physical performance against a standard. And here's the part that has to be a part of the conversation, whether people are comfortable with it or not, right? Male puberty creates measurable physiological advantages: bone density, muscle mass, lung capacity, height, the size of the heart, and how much oxygen it can pump. These are documented, measurable scientific differences between male and female bodies that develop during puberty. And here's the critical piece: those advantages do not fully reverse with hormone therapy. Research consistently shows that even after years of hormone treatment, transgender women retain some of the physiological advantages in certain athletic measurements. And that's not an opinion, that's not politics, that's biology and sports science. Even though people want to get rid of science, that's biology talking. And when you're talking about a state championship, about titles that go on transcripts, about recruitment attention from college coaches, about scholarships that change the trajectory of somebody's entire life, those advantages have real consequences for the girls competing in that division. The girl who finished second behind AB in the high jump trained for 4 years for that moment. 4 years, that title, and what comes with it matters enormously in her life. I cannot dismiss that. I won't dismiss that, right? But here's what I want to say, something that I think gets lost in this conversation every single time. The problem is not AB. AB is a kid, a high school senior who followed the rules that exist. You cannot be angry at an athlete for competing under the policy that the governing body put in place. AB didn't write the CIF rules. AB just followed them, right? And the frustration, the legitimate frustration, has to go towards the adults making the policy, the CIF board, the California legislator, the people whose job it is to create rules that are both fair and inclusive. Because right now, the policy isn't working for anybody. The share the podium solution, that's not a solution. That's adults who couldn't make a real decision slapping a band-aid on a problem that needed surgery. It leaves transgender athletes feeling like they've been treated like an asterisk. And it leaves cisgender athletes feeling like their achievements aren't being fully recognized. Nobody wins with that approach. So what actually needs to happen is a serious science-based policy conversation, one that looks at the actual research on athletic performance, one that creates categories or standards that account for biological reality while treating transgender athletes with dignity, one that stops using individual kids as political props on both sides, right? Because right now, AB Hernandez didn't ask to be the face of a national debate. Neither did the girls on that podium. These are high school kids, and the adults in charge of this have failed all of them by refusing to have the hard conversation and make a real decision. And most states have already moved to restrict transgender athletes in girls' sports. California is one of the last holdouts. This fight is specifically a California fight right now, but is being watched by everyone nationally, because wherever California goes on this tends to influence the conversation everywhere else. So here's exactly where I stand at. I want to be completely clear. I support transgender people, right? Full stop. Employment, housing, healthcare, military service. Nobody should be discriminated against for who they are. I said it in the last video and I meant it, right? And women's sports is a competitive space that was specifically created to give women equal opportunity to compete. And protecting that competitive integrity matters. Both things are true at the same time without contradiction. But what I refuse to do is pretend that complex issues have simple answers just because one side or the other wants a clean talking point. This is complicated. The science is real. The fairness concerns are real. The dignity of transgender athletes is real. All of it is real. And anybody telling you there's an answer to this is selling you something, right? And this is one where I generally want every perspective in the comments, right? But let's look at this last video about exactly what happened. Let's see. I want to show y'all this too, right? Let me see. Let's move that. Let's put that up there. All right, check this out.
A Jurupa Valley transgender senior won 2 state titles at the CIF Track and Field Championships this weekend. Marissa Njemi reports AB Hernandez finished first in both the girls' high jump and triple jump, while also placing third in the long jump. The transgender athlete successfully defended both state titles, clearing 5 feet 10 inches in the high jump and posting a winning mark of 48 feet 8 3/4 inches in the triple jump. The championships also drew national attention off the track, with small groups of protesters and supporters gathering outside the stadium during the weekend. Inside the venue, however, the atmosphere remained mostly focused on the competition. Under current CIF policy, transgender athletes who medal at the state championships still receive their awards, but do not displace cisgender athletes in the final standings. The policy applied to all 3 of Hernandez's events this weekend.
All right. This is the one where I generally want every perspective in the comments. Okay. Athletes who have compared against transgender athletes. I want to hear your experience. Parents of female athletes. What are you seeing? Coaches, officials, people on both sides of the issue. And I want the real conversation, not the slurs, not the attacks on AB personally. AB is a kid. Leave that kid alone. The policy conversation, the real one, because this issue deserves better than what it usually gets on the internet. And I think this audience can actually have that conversation. All right. Drop it below. I read every single comment and stay right here. We got a few more videos coming up. We're going to switch gears to Ukraine, Patriot missiles, Raytheon, and, just stories that, you might have missed. We're going to talk about Patriot missiles because, I used to fire Patriot missiles at Fort Bliss. So let's go, man. Like I said, man, if you're not subscribed yet, do that right now. Hit the bell. And if you missed any of the earlier videos, you can go to my channel and look it all up. We got North Carolina cop punching a woman. We got, people that's faking brain cancer and getting GoFundMe's and the FBI looking for them. We got P. Headself talking about transgender that applies to this one right here too. So check these out. And videos, the next video is coming up. Let's keep it moving, man. Hype me up, man.